U.S. Representative Joe Coulter from Pennsylvania's 4th District wanted one of the Democratic Party's top contenders for the 1988 presidential ticket to see a modern ghost town, one to rival the Old West, Aliquippa, Pennsylvania.
We used to take great pride in the fact that we had great employment here. Everybody was working. We had no hardships as we have today, and there's such a difference. And I wanted Gary to see this firsthand to show why we must have new legislation in Washington.
U.S. Senator Gary Hart of Colorado says that if President Reagan's pet project, the Strategic Defense Initiative, ever came into being, it would cost the government $1 trillion. Add that onto a deficit that's already $200 billion. Hart says the money would be better spent on his SII plan, a Strategic Investment Initiative.
I think many of us saw back in the early 80s that the policy of broad-based personal tax cuts alone were not going to revitalize the basic industries of this nation. As a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee for 12 years, what I proposed is that we close the gap between our Navy and the Soviet Navy by a major reindustrialization program, putting the steel mills of this country back on their feet for one particular purpose, and that's to help revitalize the merchant fleet and the Navy of this country. I noticed a couple of weeks ago in the New York Times a cover story that said that the Soviet Pacific Fleet now has some 800 plus ships. Our Sixth Fleet in the Western Pacific has about 70 or 80.
Hart was in Aliquippa to congratulate Coulter on having the courage to stand up for the American worker when others wouldn't. After a press conference at the LTV Steel Company, Hart addressed an audience at a brunch at the Aliquippa Croatian Club.
So put tens of thousands of workers in Aliquippa and other plants like this back to work in modern steel mills. I think what this country needs is an economic policy focused on revitalization of our industrial base, training of our workers, and plants and a productive capacity in steel and autos, machine tools, second to none in the world.
And if the decline of the steel industry is a national tragedy, Hart says it's an even sadder day for the railroads. Congress has voted to sell off Conrail in a public stock offering. Hart says he voted no. He believes the nation should be rebuilding the nation's railroads and rebuilding them with public funds. Dawna Petkash, News 9.